Hi everybody, I'm back to read Fortunately the Milk today. I hope that you liked the first part. But before I do that, I'm going to read you a poem out of Old Possum's Book of Practical Cats. This is a whole poetry book about super funny cats, and I hope that you like it. This poem is called The Naming of Cats. The naming of cats is a difficult matter. It isn't just one of your holiday games. At first, you might think I'm as mad as a hatter when I tell you a cat must have 3 different names. First of all, there's the name that the family use daily, such as Peter, Augustus, Alonzo, or James, such as Victor or Jonathan, George, or Bill Bailey, all of them sensible, everyday names. There are fancier names if you think they sound sweeter, some for the gentlemen, some for the dames, such as Plato, Admetus, Electra, Demeter, but all of them sensible, everyday names. But I tell you, a cat needs a name that's peculiar and more dignified. Else how can he keep up his tail perpendicular, or spread out his whiskers, or cherish his pride? Of names of this kind I can give you a quorum, such as Monkstrap, Quaxo, or Coricopat, such as Bomb Ballerina, or else Jelly Lorem, names that never belong to more than one cat. But above and beyond, there's still one name left over, and that is the name that you never will guess. The name that no human research can discover, but the cat himself knows and will never confess. When you notice a cat in profound meditation, the reason I tell you is always the same. His mind is engaged in a rapt contemplation of the thought, of the thought, of the thought of his name, his ineffable, effable, F and ineffable, deep and inscrutable, singular name. If you have a kitty, what's your kitty's name? You've seen my kitty, Mr. Flooferson, and that is a very silly name. All right, let's read Fortunately the Milk. Do you remember what happened yesterday? The dad was supposed to go get milk, but he forgot, so he went out in the morning to get it, and it took him a really long time to come back. Do you remember why? Well, first he said that aliens had come. And just as we were leaving the chapter, he pushed the button and went out the door. So let's find out what happens next. I was falling. Fortunately, I had kept tight hold of the milk, so when I splashed into the sea, I didn't lose it. "What was that?" said a woman's voice. "A big fish? A mermaid? Or was it a spy?" I wanted to say that it wasn't any of those things, but my mouth was full of seawater. I felt myself being hauled up onto the deck of a little ship. There were a number of men and women on the deck, and they all looked very cross. "Who be ye, landlubber?" said the woman, who had on a big hat on her head and a parrot on her shoulder. "He's a spy, a walrus in a coat, a new kind of mermaid with legs," said the men. "What are you doing here?" asked the woman. "Well," I said, "I just set out to the corner shop for some milk for my children's breakfast and for my tea, and the next thing I knew—" "He's lying, Your Majesty." She pulled out her cutlass. "You dare to lie to the Queen of the Pirates?" Fortunately, I had kept tight hold of the milk, and now I pointed to it. "If I didn't go to the corner shop to fetch the milk," I asked them, "then where did this milk come from?" At this, the pirates were completely speechless. "Now," I said, "if you could let me off somewhere near my destination, I would be much obliged to you." There is the Queen of the Pirates. "And where would that happen to be?" said the Queen of the Pirates. "On the corner of Marshall Road and Fletcher Lane," I said. "My children are waiting there for their breakfast." "You're on a pirate ship now, my fine bucko," said the Pirate Queen, "and you don't get dropped off anywhere. There are only 2 choices. You can join my pirate crew or refuse to join, and we will push you and you will go to the bottom of the sea where you will feed the fishes. What about walking the plank? I asked. Never heard of it, said the pirates. Walking the plank, I said. It's what proper pirates do. Look, I'll show you. Do you have a plank anywhere? It took some looking, but we found a plank, and I showed the pirates where to put it. We discussed nailing it down, but the pirate queen decided it was safer just to have the two biggest pirates sit on it in the very end. Why exactly do you want to walk the plank? Said the pirate queen. I edged out onto the plank. The blue Caribbean water splashed gently beneath me. Well, I said, I've seen lots of stories with pirates in them, and it seems to me that if I'm going to be rescued. And at this, the pirates started to laugh so hard that their stomachs wobbled, and the parrot took off into the air in amazement. Ha 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 ha! Rescue, they said. There's no rescue out there. We're in the middle of the sea. Nevertheless, I told them, if you're going to be rescued, it will always be while walking the plank. Which we don't do, said the pirate queen. Here, have a Spanish doubloon and come and join us in our piratical adventures. It's the 18th century, she added, and there's always room for a bright, enthusiastic pirate. I caught the doubloon. I almost wish that I could, I told her, but I have children and they need their breakfast. Then you must die. Walk the plank. And I edged out to the edge of the plank. Sharks were circling, and so were piranhas. And this is where I interrupted my dad for the first time. Hang on, I said. Piranhas are freshwater fish. What were they doing in the sea? And there they are. You're right, said my father. The piranhas were later. Right. So I went out to the end of the plank facing certain death when a rope ladder hit my shoulder and a deep, booming voice shouted, "Quickly, climb up my rope ladder." I needed no more encouragement than this, and I grabbed the rope ladder with both hands. Fortunately, the milk was pushed deep into the pocket of my coat. The pirates hurled insults at me and even discharged their pistols, but neither insults nor pistol shot found their targets, and I soon made it to the top of the rope ladder. I had never been in the basket of a hot air balloon before. It was very peaceful up there. The person in the balloon basket said, I hope you don't mind helping me, but it looked like you were having a problem down there. And I said, You're a stegosaurus. I am an inventor, he said. I have invented the thing we are traveling in, which I call Professor Steg's floaty ball person carrier. I call it a balloon, I said. Professor Steg's floaty ball person carrier is the original name, he said, and right now we are 150 million years in the future. Actually, I said, we're about 300 years in the past. Do you like hard, hairy, wet white crunchers, he asked. Coconuts, I guessed. I named them first, said Professor Steg, and he picked up a coconut from a basket and ate it, shell and all, just as you or I might crunch some toast. He showed me his time machine. He was very proud of it. It was a large cardboard box with several pebbles in it and stones stuck to the side. There was also a large red button. I looked at the stones. Hang on, I said. Those are diamonds and sapphires and rubies. Oops. Actually, he said, I call them special shiny clear stones, special shiny blue stones, and special shiny red stones, I suggested. Indeed, he said. I called them that when I was inventing my really good moves around in time machine 150 million years ago. Well, I told him, it was very lucky for me that you turned up when you did and rescued me. I am slightly lost in space and time right now, and I need to get home in order to make sure my children get milk for their breakfast. I showed it to him. This is the milk. Although I expect that 150 million years ago, you called it wet, white, drinky stuff. Dinosaurs are reptiles, sir, said Professor Steg. We do not go in for milk. Do you go in for breakfast cereal, I asked. Of course, he said. Dinosaurs love breakfast cereal, especially the kind with nuts in. What do you have on your cereal, I asked. Orange juice mostly, or we just eat it dry. But I shall put this in my book. In the distant future, small mammals put milk on their breakfast cereal. I shall write a wonderful book when I return to the present. Actually, I said, I think this is definitely the past. It has pirates in it. It's the future, he said. All the dinosaurs have gone off into the stars, leaving the world to mammals. I wondered where you all went, I said. The stars, he told me. That is where we will have gone. So I said, can you take me home? Well, he said, yes and no. Well, what does that mean? Yes, I would love to take you home. Nothing would make me happier. No, I cannot take you home. In all honesty, I do not believe that I can take me home. My time machine is being very temperamental. I need a special shiny greeny stone. I have pressed that button many times, but nothing happens. Button? Don't you mean big, red, flat, pressy thing, I asked. I most certainly do not. It is a button. I named it after my Aunt Button. Can I press it? If you wish. I pressed the button. The sun shot around the sky, and the sky started to flicker in nights and days, and the balloon began to rock and lurch and zoom around like an angry fly. I held on to the ropes as hard as I could. Fortunately, I was still keeping tight hold of the milk in my right hand. When we stopped being blown all across the sky, it was night, and according to Professor Steg, we had only gone back about 1,000 years. The moon was nearly full. I'm even farther from my children and our breakfast, I said. You have your milk, he said. Where there is milk, there is hope. Ah, over there. That looks like a perfect landing platform for time-traveling scientists in a floaty ball person carrier. All right, tomorrow we're going to find out where they land. I hope that you enjoyed this story. I will talk to you later. Bye.